Thank you, Scott. I can't tell you what a privilege and an honor it is to be here to support Chap and to be part of his kickoff. And Chap, thank you very much for asking me. I actually originally ran for the city council right out of college in the early 80s and served most of the 80s and got out of it most of the 90s and came back in toward 1998 and actually had the distinguished honor of running with Chap when he ran his first time and serving on Chap with Chap on the city council. And the thing that always amazed me about Chap Petersen is his ability to kind of cut through the rhetoric and cut through all the smoke screen and all the clouds that happen so often in certainly the political arena and understand what the pulse of the community was. And you know, while I had done it for a long time and thought I knew everything, whenever a tough issue came up, I always called Chap first and early on and asked them, hey, what's the community think about this issue? Because Chap always got it. He had such a strong anchor point in Fairfax. He had such a strong family history in Fairfax. And he always understood the difference between political statements and what the real community and the citizens really believed and what they needed and what they thought of. And I was always amazed that that happened so early in his political career. So Scott said very early on, nobody is going to outwork Chap Petersen. For those of you who hear me speak around the community, I often quote, and I don't actually know who did it, I think it was a former president that talked about the best form of government is the government that governs closest to the people. I actually heard that quote and a comment that Chap made when he first ran for city council. And the difference between many politicians and Chap is he actually believes it and he walks his talk. That's why nobody will outwork him. Nobody will out-phone call him. Nobody will, you know, his constituent services, he created a whole new benchmark for us in Northern Virginia in terms of that sort of benchmark because he gets it. You know, he doesn't ask if you're a Republican or a Democrat. He doesn't ask if you were a political contributor or not a political contributor. He asks, what do you need? And Chap's the kind of guy that just goes right to it and happens. Certainly, as mayor of the city of Fairfax, I can't tell you, we run nonpartisan, so we don't really fly in the sort of political partisan arena, thank God. And you know, the thing with Chap is you go to him. When we need help with our city charter, we go to Chap. When we needed help with the tank farm issues, we went to Chap. When we needed help with George Mason University and trying to balance the growth issues between and their success, we went to Chap Petersen. And he's that kind of a legislator that he's there for you day in and day out. And as I said earlier, he just frankly gets the issues and he understands what's important. He understands what's not important, and he certainly understands his constituent base more than anybody I've ever been around, and I've been doing politics in Northern Virginia for quite a long time. He sort of broke the mold when it came to that. So I'm thrilled to be here. It's my privilege to be here in support of Chap Petersen. He deserves your vote. He deserves all of our votes, and let's just get him back in as our state senator and continue to represent.
You know, I am really sorry that I have to follow Rob Lederer because he took all the words right out of my mouth. I've had the pleasure of working with Chap. Actually, when I was the Braddock District Supervisor, Chap was on the City Council and we worked together that way as colleagues. And I always knew that he was a common sense voice, that he was a person whenever I needed something done in the Braddock District that overlapped or was close to, not overlapped, but was close to the city, that I could count on Chap to work with me. And he just was a common sense kind of person. Let me also say that I used to be really proud of my walking door-to-door record until Chap Petersen came along. And Chap has I think he probably broke all the records of everyone who has ever been an elected official for walking door-to-door. And in fact, when you go someplace where Chap is, when he leaves, if he's got a few minutes, he will say, I'm going off to knock on a couple of doors, just in between doing stuff. Which means, it's not just that he does that for his health, it means that Chap is really, really close to his constituents, and he's got his finger on the pulse of his district. And that is something that I respect and I think is really important, and I know that all of you feel that way too. Now that Chap is representing us in the state senate, He couldn't be a better partner for local government. And he's a great partner with local government because he knows it, because he's been in it. He's been in the trenches. And so when it comes to serving our constituents, when it comes to working in partnership with Fairfax County, when it comes to our sitting down and talking about our legislative agenda, I know that Chap is there for us. So thank you, Chap. You've done a super job. Couldn't have a better partner. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce Senator Chap Petersen. We need to make sure that we're there for him for another 4 years. Chap.